Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things.
The podcast.
I am Macy,
And I am Naomi.
and we are two anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
Let's get into it.
Let's do. Sticks and stones may break your bones,
True.
but psychologists stress that words can make or break relationships.
Oh, yeah. Words are powerful.
True. True. So my topic today is going to focus on words.
I love words.
Me too. There's a few books. What's his first name? Pinker is the last name of the author, but has written a lot of psychological books around the psychology of like language making and meaning making, and so I've always had an interest in words, which sounds silly to say out loud with words, but
well, I don't think enough people understand how important words are and what a difference they make and how powerful they are.
Right, right. Because I think we associate so much with, and it is true, like even culturally, we tie action with meaning more. Even so, saying "I'm sorry" to someone, usually people say, "Well, that doesn't mean much unless there's like the follow through."
It's part of it, though.
Right.
Part of atonement.
Right.
You do have to acknowledge and apologize.
Right. So but how you say that would be different.
Yeah.
Given different circumstances.
I'm sorry.
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 Or even just like, I'm sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
You can say the same word and it means different things depending on how you say it.
Or how often you say it, or how frequent or infrequent.
Yeah. Sorry can be overused.
Absolutely. So I started with that kind of broad place and I ended up at another place, like many of these topics end up like. So to start off, I'm not on the internet yet. I should probably do that. I parted this up and not on there. Okay. I don't trust that Xfinity Wi-Fi. I mean, no. I do. It's just not fast. It's slower. Okay, so Dr. Catherine Noble, a PsyD psychologist, said that understanding the impact of language on relationships is fundamental because words shape perceptions, emotions, and that can in turn impact how we interact with each other and process information. So it's at the core of really everything we do. You may be unintentionally giving people the wrong perception of who you are genuinely on the inside without even knowing it. Like we just talked about on our
Patreon exclusive pre-fund content.
Yeah.
Subscribe. It's only $1.
And you'll know what I'm talking about. So sometimes what you are conveying or saying is not, or sorry, what you're saying is not what you meant to convey.
I know.
And it can impact how people see you and treat you.
I was going to read you something I posted on my Instagram a while back.
Good. Yeah.
That's topical.
Yes. Please do.
It says, all words are magical. They have power to change how people feel. They have power to change situations. Every time you speak, you are casting a spell. I wrote that.
It's beautiful.
I put it on my Insta.
Is it in your book?
No, it's on my Instagram.
I should log into there and give you a thumbs up. Because this in person doesn't do it. Like, but why is this now not the same?
I don't know. And Instagram is hearts, not thumbs. That's Facebook.
Yeah, it's how little I'm on. The Insta's really reserved for the cats, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Facebook is a cesspool.
I'm barely on Facebook anymore, but yeah, it is. Yes. I don't know. Mostly it's just a big page of people I don't talk to anymore, so that's a thing.
Well, interestingly, I've had to be on there recently because I was unfriending a lot of people because it's just come to light that a lot of people I was friends with are just not aligned with my values, I guess you'd say, in some important areas. And so
why don't I know this? Yeah.
I just caught one post that was really like offensive. It's a very anti-trans post.
Mm.
And so I unfriended then. I'm like, maybe I need to go through and do a little house cleaning.
That's what my dad said back when the initial Trump era had begun, and
Hmm.
he's like, "Well, thanks everybody for letting me know who I like, what you really think, so I know who I
Yeah.
can delete and not talk to anymore."
Yeah, I just haven't been in there on Facebook for so long, so who knows what's been going on.
I know,
So I
like,
did try to at
how has it
least
survived without us? Like, what
find
is
some of those.
that mess?
It's a mess. It's
Oh,
not even Facebook anymore. It's Meta.
I mean, is it though?
No,
No one calls it Meta.
it's not Meta.
Mm. I mentioned that the other day that you always reference
Mark
Mark.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I was like that's it's my favorite thing because
It's his name.
it's not even like it's not like you lead up to a joke, you just say it like it is his name.
You should legally change it at this point.
I mean, because you say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hmm. Agreed.
Well, the other asshole,
Which asshole?
Elon, who I formerly put on a
Elon Musk.
pedestal and now can't stand.
Since the monkeys.
He, well, it was the
Testing.
Monkeys and More. Yeah,
Monkeys and More.
Monkeys and
That's the
More.
second book that's coming out
Monkeys
soon.
and More.
Monkeys
Yes.
and More.
So
I'm
he
gonna
renamed
be an
Twitter
editor.
X. I've never been on Twitter, so I don't.
I have an account because I think something once asked me to do
Yeah, I
it.
think I set up an account like way back when,
Like
but I never really could figure
I'm
out
sure
how to
my
do it.
yeah, like I'm sure my email's there, and then I went in. I remember vaguely like going in and being like, now what?
Yeah, I probably like
And
tried to
then
post one thing and then it just seemed really hard. Like I couldn't like figure it out.
yeah, like was that the like start of the at symbol things or like hashtag things? I don't know.
Yeah, and now
I
it's
just I
just
didn't understand. I'm too old.
something to be avoided.
Yeah.
And is anybody calling it X or is everybody still calling
The
it
X?
Twitter?
I have no idea. Okay,
Elon
so
renamed it X.
oh, of course he did. I forgot that he took that over, honestly, until you just said that.
Oh,
Right. That makes sense.
yeah,
Why it
it
related.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Money, you mean for him,
I
probably.
don't know what he's thinking
Does it
anymore.
make money? Isn't it for free?
No, no,
I mean, I don't pay for it.
I know, but all the ads,
Maybe our souls. Ooh, is he a vampire?
all the advertising.
Sucks our souls out.
Well, not mine because I don't go on there,
That's good. Good protection.
but
Right.
Instagram probably sucks a little of my soul. Thank God I'm not on TikTok. TikTok.
Did you just say
TikTok.
Tic Tac? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Did you? Never mind. I won't.
But you should.
No,
Why not?
it's too
Risque.
Trumpy and
Oh, who cares?
I don't feel like it.
Fine. Me neither. It's fine. It's getting warmer out again today. It was cool and I was enjoying the cooler temperatures. And then got warm again.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. I'm not ready for winter.
Winter. So my AC was out for like the last 2 weeks. So when got really hot, I had no AC inside, even though I had a portable one. I was just too lazy because it was too hot.
No, I don't have central air.
Mm.
Never have had it. I have a
That-
window box in my bedroom.
That tracks. I've done podcasts in various parts of your home, and it gets quite
I know, I
hot.
do like it a little bit hot.
If you've seen some of our older videos on the tubes, there's literally ones with ice packs on our faces and like sweating and red and yeah. I like that you say it like it's a prideful thing though.
It is.
I love my central air.
Well, people that have central air don't go outside when it's hot. I love when it's hot and I go outside on the porch and cool down. It's nice.
So it is nice. I like that you ended with a positive. It made me feel better, like with words. And that's my segue. It's the best I can do.
That was a really good
So
segue.
we as humans are social species. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we socialize, I guess. We live in groups. Some of us, we take care of each other, kind of, and we build civilizations poorly. But we certainly try. We certainly try sometimes to do these things well, decently.
I've been a little disheartened by the current state of civilization.
I know I'm just like none of that was written down by anybody else. That was just me dampening. I feel like a wet washcloth, that's been left out in the sun with no AC. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, However, words may be able to impact how we feel and what we do. So maybe today we can like have some takeaway from this,
Yeah.
perhaps. So, um, being able to cooperate with each other is important, and language is a big part of that. Being social, we interact, and it also impacts how we regulate, like the way our brain manages our body. So your brain is responding to words, which then regulates how your body responds. So there is it literally ties to how your resources, your self resources get used. And I hadn't really thought about that because that's a hard thought at first for me. But I mean, it makes that, that mind body connection piece because they both exist.
You do.
And they are like really just kind of one interacting thing. Like the tree, it makes me think of what's that where they touch tails.
What?
That
What's
Avatar,
happening?
Avatar, and they touch tails and the
No, I
weird like.
could not stand that movie.
I just the second Tails did that, and it's just what. Um,
I saw the first one and I did not like
it's
it.
like watching an alien porn for a second. And you look around, you're like, was that okay? Like, I don't think I should have seen that. Um, anyways, the second one, I for those who loved it, you honestly you either fell asleep halfway through or you didn't watch the whole thing. It was the same thing as the original, it's just a different setting underwater and
Oh,
really long,
ugh, I
really
don't
long.
like long movies.
They get to the point,
Yeah.
like me right now. Okay, so here we go. For your whole life outside of your awareness, you are literally making deposits into other people's body budgets, we'll
Ooh,
call it, right? You make deposits in as well as withdrawals, and others do the same for you. So there's pros and cons with that. But it's that kind of token economy, but with words, language, and impacts on our bodies.
okay.
Okay, so family, friends, strangers, everybody impacts how your brain functions by the words they use and how they communicate, which can kind of suck. If you don't have all the control around about who's around you, or yeah, I don't know, some people's settings may not be very helpful.
No. And if you know, grow up in an abusive home, you really
Hmm.
don't have control over that as a kid, surrounded by,
Trauma.
emotional abuse all the time.
And I mean that so that ability for the brain to be flexy is that plasticity in the brain, and it can change gradually every day with as new experiences happen. So the dendrites in your brain become bushier, and the associated neural connections become more efficient, stronger, and more attuned with those you interact with. So that's kind of why you could be like maybe the person from our Patreon topic was really that's like how they have learned to communicate within their setting
What
of
person?
people from our top. I'm trying not to give away what our Patreon topic was.
I've already forgotten.
That's okay.
Oh, I know. Okay.
Like maybe all of that was very like actually very appropriate in those settings for whatever reason. And
Doubtful, but okay.
I mean, or maybe they're just socially rejected altogether. Possible,
Possible,
highly probable,
plausible.
and definitely occurred. So your body is really trying to respond constantly to what your brain is sending it all the time. And that's a lot to keep just kind of humming along to. And it's a co-regulation that happens. But so when you're with someone you care about, for example, uh, research has shown that your breathing can start to synchronize. So that's interesting, right? Like your bodies start to match each other. Beating of your hearts will actually begin to go in similar rhythms, and that can be even heated arguments and casual conversations. Isn't that interesting? Like what is that?
Well, I think that,
Infants and caregivers, same thing.
yeah, I mean,
Therapists
that
and
makes
clients,
sense. I think it makes sense.
they know therapists and clients too, and I that makes sense to me because I when you vaguely talk about it, it's like you can feel connected or like
Well, that's
hooked
how
in, right?
secondary trauma can occur because you
Right,
actually
right, right,
are
right on the other
feeling
side.
that strong emotion with that
Hmm.
person, like you're experiencing the exact same emotion.
Maybe that's why. Maybe there's an answer there. I mean, we always know burnout's a thing in our field, turnover is a thing in our field, but a lot of that has to do, could it have a lot to do with people's ability to take that in all the
Hmm.
time and cope with that?
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it takes skills to be
It
able to
takes skills and
find,
some, what's it, containering,
yeah, or else you're just taking it all in
bracketing,
and then you get overwhelmed. So,
right? Bracketing. But that can also appear cold and like give you
no, you have
like,
to be open. You have to be compassionate or you're going to be a
right,
shitty therapist.
right. So it's a weird balancing line, I think, for
It's
folks.
absolutely a balancing line.
Hmm.
And it's all about widening your window of tolerance,
Right.
which takes work.
Yeah. New counselors get a little irritated at me because the first thing I push at them is like, no, I'm not teaching you any skills. I need to see you just be a genuine person having a conversation and show that you care and that you're listening. And it's amazing how hard that is for people at first because they want to like be present as something else and that isn't perceived well by people.
Mhm.
That can't be anyone but yourself. I mean, professionally, I mean, button it up a bit. So there's co-regulation that happens. Um, if you raise your voice or even your eyebrow, you can affect what goes on inside other people's bodies.
Mhm.
The power.
Yeah, that'd be annoying. Somebody raised their eyebrow at me. It just seems
It's
so
hard.
judgy,
It's really hard for me to do.
really.
Can you see?
Oh, yeah, I can do
I
that.
had to kind of like close my eye. Oh, you're good at it.
I'm super good.
You're good at it. You got a good, nice trimmed eyebrow too, so it's like a nice like pop. I just can't see anymore. So we also adjust each other's body budgets based on our actions. So like I just said, your heart rate or chemicals carried in the bloodstream can change. So if a loved one is in pain, you can lessen their suffering by holding their hand.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. It's,
Aww.
it's tracking so far.
Right, right. Well, and I think these things that have like we know or because we feel it, right? Like it's
Hmm.
like I would say, oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I would imagine that would feel better, but I wouldn't know that like it actually is helping. I would just like to hope it did.
Yeah, healthy touch is good.
Oh, randomly connected thing is I read an article like a couple's Gottman therapy thing, and it was saying that 6 minutes of kissing or and another person said like 20 seconds of hugging a day or whatever, that sustained contact is really helpful in relationships. And I was like, I wonder if it applies to animals because I'm me and cats and dogs. And my bulldog is very energetic. There's a reason why I haven't brought him here since he's been an adult, because he would destroy until he passed out. And so I was like, I'm going to try something with him. Like maybe he needs more sustained contact. So I sat down with him. I knelt down on my knees, and he's doing this little freak out. I'm just holding him still, and I just slowly, calmly petted his head, and I said, "Let's take 3 deep breaths." And I did. And then by the end of the third breath, he like relaxed down. And I rubbed his ears, and he collapsed on the ground, and then he was like legit calmer. And again, it makes sense,
Yeah.
but like the holding and the sustained bit, I don't see I don't see that very much in the world, honestly.
Hmm.
Hmm. In my world view. My family was never the family of like sustained hugs. I'll just say that. Like my dad really tried to make an effort to do that for me because it was always awkward
Mhm.
having my grandma let you say love you to hear the awkward fumbling of oh I have to say that back moment. I love you too. Because she did, but it was not something generationally that was done as much.
Mhm.
So
I'm very I love you with my in our house. We have a very loving home.
I could see that. Yeah,
That's why they're all so happy.
they are happy. You have a happy little bundle, but to be fair, I don't see the in between. So
No, overall, I mean, even if there's a little strife, it's so quick and
yeah.
because the whole thing is having a warm, loving, happy home. Like that is such a priority
Mhm.
that everything else
Like it's
it's
just
so unimportant.
like
It's so
just let it
trivial.
go.
Yeah.
Right. Well, who has to let it go?
Everybody
Everybody.
does. Everybody
Yeah.
does. Because it's just not how
Right. And if there's no tension on one
we
side,
we
it
just
just
don't contain it.
lets
We
it
don't
go.
hold on to it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just no.
Right.
Yeah. If
No.
somebody gets a little grumpy about something, it's very short-lived and it's resolved.
Well, and that's hard for many people to do the holding a grudge thing like that. It's very Taurus of us, so I'm very proud
I
of
don't
both
hold
ourselves.
grudges. I actually can't. I have a physical inability. I've tried to stay mad at people and I like actually can't do it.
So, okay, and I might actually agree with that too on my front, but I would say that maybe the better word, uh, judgy.
Oh, I'm super judgy.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
That's different.
me too.
But like being angry at somebody, like I've tried to hold on to it because I'm like, I'm not ready
I'm too
to
nice. I'm too nice.
not be mad at you, but I like can't hold it anymore. It's just gone.
It has to be like heat of the moment. Like I can rage. I can rage, but it has to be heat of the moment, or else I'll be like, "Hey, you want ice cream?" Um, probably my social
I mean,
need
most
to not be
things
rejected.
are so not worth getting upset about, and I think that's something that I've just always just known so deeply.
Mhm.
Like since I was born, I was aware of death. Like it was some of my earliest memories are death, being aware of death. And so just knowing at a core level that life could end at any moment and life is short,
Mhm.
like little things just don't rattle me.
I only recently realized that. So much of a
Yeah.
rattle.
Well, it's because my dad died when I was a baby. And so
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, my very first conscious
Wow.
awareness is that death existed.
Well, and that's, I mean, that speaks to this quite a bit too, because there's that, um, there was a gap there that you had to like come to terms with early
Or
on
not.
babyhood, or not come to terms with. Read the book. I don't know if it's published. It's
It's never going to be published.
59.99.
It can be,
Just made that up.
if my kids want it, they can publish it after I'm dead.
I'll publish it after you're done.
No, it
Just give me
has
the
to be their
manuscript. I
choice.
have to.
I don't want to ruin their lives, so it's totally
Oh,
their
are they
choice.
all up in it?
Well, it's stuff that
I
could.
thought that was a spider. She freaked me out for a
I
second.
know, I always think that's a spider
It was
too.
right in the corner of my eye.
Doesn't it look
Yeah,
like
the
there's a bunch
leg.
of legs?
Yeah, and then I've had a big spider thing in the garage lately, so
It looks like the kind that has like the really
yeah.
skinny long legs that bend and go
Oh,
up and
oh,
down.
yes, yes, yes. I know which one you're talking about.
That's what it
Yeah,
looks like. I should paint over that because
you
I always
should.
think it's a spider too.
Okay, I'm glad. I was like, do I admit this, or is she going to like make me feel publicly? Yeah,
No,
you
I'm always
should.
tripping that stuff is spiders though.
Could put like a picture or a sticker or anything, really, because
I'll just
it is
paint over
totally the
it.
shape and the color.
I probably have some of this paint somewhere.
I,
This
I,
nice mustard
so
color of these walls.
yeah, I like these. I like this. It's like a nice terracotta. I don't know if that's a color,
This
but
color was super popular in the mid
we've had this conversation
2006.
before. My memory's kicking in.
Yeah,
With
I
the
picked this.
ceilings and
I picked this color.
accent walls.
I would never pick this color now, but I picked it.
Mm.
This is my fault. I picked this.
I think my basement is like a tinge off of this color a little bit. Then and I have wanted to finish painting it. Anyways, sorry for that spider thing. There's these weird spiders though in my site. See, I just did it again. I need to put my like there, my hair to block.
I think it's because we have spider trauma, so we're seeing that as
Well,
spiders.
I've had them attacking me lately, not like actually, but close. So they,
It's a trauma reminder.
for whatever reason, because if you're in the garage if you're in there long enough, these big ones that remind me of the toy off Toy Story, that the baby doll head with the robot
Oh,
legs.
yeah.
These spiders look exactly like that, first of all, and they're kind of just like creepy. Like they're not even like scary, but they're creepy, and they move fast, but in a robot-y kind
No,
of
thank
way.
you.
Yeah, and it'll be like one of them will come out of nowhere, and they come right at me, like,
Aggressive.
but not even like I don't think they're thinking. I think they're like little robots. I don't
You
see
don't think they're
malicious
real?
intent. That mark on the wall had more malicious intent than those things coming at me, but I'm still like freaked out because I don't want that robot near me. I don't know what you're doing. Get away. But then I have an existential crisis about stepping on them because like,
Oh God, I don't
what did
kill
they do
them.
to me? I have to
I
call
have
for
a whole
help.
system
Oh
that
gosh.
we do with the paper and the glass to get them
And
outside.
okay, there is a plethora of research about how you're just putting them to death by doing that because they're like if they're indoors, they are an indoor spider and they're not going to live outside.
Well, that's on them.
I mean, you did your best.
Yeah,
I mean, to me,
they could go
some
into someone else's house.
some spiders, I see you and I go like, okay, like you're doing your job. There's flies and stuff, sure.
I will walk on
Sure.
by with those little jumping spiders.
Oh no, I don't do jumping spiders. 'Cause I'm from the West Coast, and
Those
they're
little black jumping
the
spiders.
ones that actually legit jump. Those
I will
ones,
look at them
no.
and say, "It's okay. I will pretend
Do
I
you know
didn't see you."
why? Because if you go at them, they'll jump on you. That's why. Don't you pretend it's for
There's
any other reason.
no, there for some reason they bother me less.
They don't scare me except for the fact that I know that they're gonna end up on me and I won't know where they are. And I'll find them later. So that's that. I don't know how we got here, spiders.
It's because you thought that was a spider.
Threw me off. And then the big scary ones, and then I can't kill them. But there are certain ones though that I'm like, you and me can't live in this. We both can't exist here because you're gonna drag off one of my cats. Sorry.
I don't like spiders. I've tried. I really have.
No, you don't have to try. You
I
just
have
don't.
tried
You don't have
because
to.
I don't like being terrified by them.
I like that
So I thought
they manage the bugs. I
at one
like
time
that.
I thought, should I try to face up to my fear of spiders?
Should we bring up spiders in
And
here?
I decided
F no.
not right now.
All right.
Maybe some other day.
Yeah, like I don't need to do that right now. I have
Maybe
I
later.
have enough trauma in my life at the moment. Like it's fine.
I'm focusing on other things.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get through my summer reading list. I only have a few weeks left.
Holy cow. Remember how we talked about that and I've read nothing.
Oh, I've read a lot, but I have a lot to go.
Oh, sorry.
I got
Oh gosh.
really ambitious at the beginning of the summer and planned all these books to read.
I have one book that I got that I've read the first page of. It's really upsetting me.
Is it?
I keep carrying it
What
around.
book is it?
It's not the same one that I
Okay.
hadn't finished. That one's still unfinished.
That might have to. Does it bother you to have a book unfinished? It
Yeah.
bothers me.
No, I think so too. And I think that's why I've stalled. Because I normally, I used to be like, I'd have 3 books running at a time. I'd have one in my car.
Yeah.
But the different kinds of books usually. Like one would be a story and the other would be more informational. But I feel like I'm stalled because of it. Like I can't get through it.
Yeah.
Now I'll never read again.
I know. I hear you. I understand.
So with that, words and reading and language,
It's all related.
Back here, it's all related. We're all coming back to this now. So, if, good, I'm great with segues today. Being a social, if I didn't say that, but my awkwardness and anxiety makes me have to explain it, which might be off-putting for some.
Well, I like being told it's a segue because I
Okay.
might not know otherwise.
Mm. My dad said that I get that from him and that it's his fault that I think things are funny to me and I have to say it even if it's not funny to anybody else.
What? I crack myself up all the time.
Me too. I think you're a funny person.
So do I.
Yeah. You were hilarious. For every like 50 that don't hit, the one that does, it feels so good. All right. So anyways, if you and your partner feel that your relationship is intimate and caring and you're responsive to each other's needs and that life seems enjoyable when you're together, both of you are less likely to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're already sick with a serious illness, such as cancer or heart
How
disease,
dare you?
you're more likely to get better. These studies were conducted on married couples, but the results appeared to hold to close friendships and for pet owners. So, talk to your friends about being in good health and how things are like going to work out and be positive and friendly. And maybe that'll make them better.
Maybe.
In fact, it really might, statistically speaking. It couldn't hurt unless they just hate you. Maybe. And then you'll get sick.
Then I think let's go the pet route. I think it's safer
Pets and pets.
because
Good.
pets don't talk to you like
No.
with words.
Yeah.
I think that's really an important part of the human pet relationship, what
Right.
makes it so
Right.
strong.
I talk to them a lot though.
Yeah, it's one way though.
I know.
Think about that.
It's not though. I get like Nugget yells at me and I say, Nugget, stop yelling at me. And then I'm like, I don't, you can't have the chair. I need that chair. And I pick her up and I put her over there. And then she gets, and I'm like, no, I need the chair. And then she goes and lays on it anyways. I'm like, I needed that chair. And then I have to get a different chair.
Hmm.
It is very two-way.
Yeah, but what if you really heard in English what Nugget was thinking? It might change things. It might change the dynamic.
I think it's exactly that. I think she just would just yell at me all the time. I think it's about the same, and she'd take my chair. She'd be a big bully. Um, I mean, I'd probably
Cats are crazy.
cats are crazy. Cats are crazy. We also get sick and die earlier when we no segue when we persistently feel lonely, possibly years earlier based on
Yeah,
longitudinal data.
yeah,
So there's that.
it's
Um,
totally true.
they say
And
that
people can die of heartbreak.
right. And they say that like being in an unhappy relationship, like I think again socially you're told like, don't stay in. It's been shown to you'll live longer in that than if you lived a lonely life.
Well, I would like to know how much of that is related to there being somebody else present to find you
Mm.
if you fall, of why
I
you live
mean,
longer.
that sounds like a future research project. So, yeah, that heartbreak, that feeling like your whole body system goes out, right? Like, so if you've ever had your heart broken,
Well, there's a lot of data where older couples, one will die and the other immediately dies after of
yeah,
a broken heart.
yeah, and it's like a couple days later, a week later, and it's sad. It's so sad, but
Because they don't want to live without one another.
the will to live and the will to die. The third book, it's $80 on Amazon.
That's a book.
Well, it will be.
Oh,
It's your third book. When you have empathy for other people, your brain predicts what they will think, feel, and do. The more you know someone, the more efficiently your brain starts to predict their inner struggles. The whole process feels natural, like you're reading their mind. Hive mind.
yeah,
Remember Derby hive
it's
mind?
real.
Earlier when we were just doing our chit chat, and I was like, I felt like there was a thing. Hive mind.
I have mine.
Hive mind. But there's a catch. These people that you're not familiar with, it's hard to empathize with them. Oh, that makes sense. You might have to learn more about them
Yeah, you
to,
have to find that human connection.
because it takes more of your body budget to withdrawals when you don't know
Is
someone.
body budget the term used in this article you're
It
reading?
is, and I'm enjoying it, honestly.
I'm not sure how I feel yet.
The body budget. I mean, because it's kind of talking transactional, I'm okay with it. This may be one reason why people sometimes fail to empathize with people who look different or believe different things. I will also just say because people can be discriminatory and stigmatizing as well, maybe, possibly sometimes. Okay. A hateful word may cause your brain to flood your bloodstreams with hormones and creating the stress, cortisol, all that. Um, so people create so-called echo chambers
Hmm.
surrounding themselves, or confirmation bias perhaps, with news and views that reinforce what they already believe. Uh, because their body budget it's less exhaustive. So,
Well, people don't want to confront their biases.
well, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it takes work.
Yeah, even if I'm wrong, that's a long battle.
Change is hard.
Change is hard. It's extent for your mind and your body.
Yeah, I mean, I purposely have always wanted to make sure I'm looking at the opposite view that I hold, even though I find it upsetting,
Mm.
because I know it's good for me.
Yeah, I'm the debater. Like I'll be the one to sit like really push something, and then the second I hear someone agree with me, I want to take the other side. They'd be like, "Yeah, but," it's very
Mm.
annoying for most. Saying a kind word to a friend, like having that be like the last thing you say after a hard day or things like that, can actually have a huge impact on that person's body regulation through the rest of their day. A hateful word may cause your brain to predict a threat and flood your bloodstream again, and making you even start to build associations. So, like, if, for example, I don't know, it, this is what I always say, like, if you have a client that you see who we'll just say it has like a lot of crisis situations that happen, like, you don't want to schedule them at the end of your day. One, because good luck getting out of there at the end of the day. You're gonna be over, and then your supervisor wants to go home and everybody else is gone. There's that. And then part two is you then just have like all these feelings and like stuff in your body that you go home with instead of being able to kind of process it throughout the day with your, just even just being around other people.
Yeah, I think it's important to have end of the day rituals, end of the
Can
workday
you share
rituals.
more about that?
Well, I like to do some cleansing breaths along with a
Mm.
mantra and pair it with relaxing my muscles. So my favorite one is I'll take a breath in and think, this is not mine,
Not mine.
and let it go. And I do it 3 times. This is not
Not
mine.
mine. For you to rewind.
This is not mine. And I feel
I
better.
like that. I like that because there is so much that isn't mine that I carry as mine.
Hmm.
Some of it's mine.
Some of it's mine.
Okay. But I can, for that moment, not carry it.
Yeah, set it down
Not a here and now
like a
problem.
heavy suitcase.
Mhm. Yes. So even something ambiguous, like if someone texts you something like, "Is your door locked?"
Mm.
That'll impact or could impact your nervous system into feeling
Why would somebody
unpleasant.
text that?
I mean, that's kind of specific, but maybe
I
like,
think there would
"Oh,
need to be some
oh, hey,
context.
did you lock the car door?" Like, even if you did lock the car door, it's gonna just reading that is going to have that instant reaction. It's like your body's gonna respond faster than your logic
Well, yeah, because
brain.
it's a moment of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And like, did I lock the
Threat.
car door?
You're right. Um, it can also occur across centuries. So if you've ever taken, um, so if you're, I don't, I don't know how I want to go into this one because I don't know.
Mm.
Okay, so this next point that they're trying to make in this specific article is that if you've ever taken comfort from ancient texts such as the Bible or the Quran, you've received body budgeting assistance from people long gone. So I just, that's all they say about it,
Mm.
and I want to know like what that means. I mean, I
I
get
mean, just
like the
religious
words
text
can
is
be
going to fill
soothing
your,
or not.
yeah, it's going to feed you.
Okay. I would say, can we just say like books in general then? And like maybe podcasts and
I mean, we
videos
can,
like
but I don't think we
that?
want to devalue religion, though. I think it's its own
And it
thing,
is.
spirituality, religion.
Yeah. They have a separation in the paragraph between before they go
Yeah.
into podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, not to devalue our podcast either.
No.
I mean,
It needs its own paragraph,
we have
to be honest.
not, yeah, we've not been here for centuries, nor have we influenced that many people, but that's okay.
If we've influenced only one, we've done our job. Positively
You and
influenced.
me, that was our whole goal. So
So two, that's two.
two. That's two.
Exceeded expectations.
For serious. We didn't hang out at all before this. We roller skated and then stopped. So, podcasts bring people together.
They do.
The power of words. That is our podcast. It's the power of words. We talk
It
to
is.
people. Yeah. So, and we don't always we're the Deeply Disturbing Things podcast, and you might think we just sit and talk about nasty, horrible things. Sometimes we do.
Sometimes.
But sometimes
We don't.
we don't, and we like to talk about the things like to me this is disturbing because of how much power there is behind it and how influential it is and how little credence we give to it.
Yeah, I am very judicious with my words because I know that something said can't be unsaid. Like that's absolutely true. Even if you apologize, say you didn't mean it, the damage is already done.
Right.
You can't, go back and undo that. And also, I want to be sure that what I'm saying is something that I stand behind and it's something, I'm not like all emotional, that it's something based on, more than that. Like there could be emotion, but it has to be deeper based on, my values and all of that.
Right.
So for that reason, one of my pet peeves is when people think out loud. I just do not like that, and it really bothers me.
I self narrate, but I don't think out loud.
And people will actually say, I'm thinking out loud right now. Let me just think about this out loud. Let me just talk through this.
But
I'm like, why? Like, can't you do that in your head and give me the final result?
But do they then talk about it out loud?
Yeah, they do.
What is, what,
They just, their whole thought process is out loud.
I mean, that does tend to be what people where I'm like,
Is that necessary?
Why don't you just sit there for a minute?
That's what I mean. That's what I think.
Why don't we circle back?
Like it bothers me. It's like
do
I need to be here for this, or can I come back later when you've come to that conclusion?
But maybe it's more of like an anxiety response. Like they're like,
I mean, it's probably just like a cognitive difference between people, but me not being that person and actually being against that on like some pretty big like moral reasons, it just bugs me.
What are your moral reasons?
Well, because I think words are powerful and you shouldn't just be blabbering on while you're trying to figure out what it is you're trying to say.
Because it's not a conclusion. Like it's not how you really. But to me, it's almost like reading between the lines of what's not being said, which is you don't have a strong opinion and you are willing to convince yourself one way or another. Like I'm going to read into what you're doing if that's what you're doing, and it's not going to be what you tell me at the end. It's going to be the fact that you did this.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm just not that way. I mean, I'm very private about,
me too,
my thoughts and stuff. And so, I mean, that's part of it. It's just, it's too exposing, like zipping back the head. Like I like to process things and then I'll get back to you. Like if I'm really upset about something in the moment, I will never ever talk about it ever. Like it might be 3 days later after the event where I'll finally talk about it.
It's usually like it would be like my husband or my dad. Two.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, maybe my kids.
It's usually it's usually like I want to talk again, like the narrating through like what happened.
See, I don't like to do that. I like to process it in my own head and then I'll talk about it later. When it's too real right then, I don't like to talk about it.
And I think for me, again, it's that mine is an anxiety thing of like a not even really knowing where it's going, just like getting it out.
Yeah, I don't like to do it. I like to keep it in, contain it, and then I'll let it out later when I've figured out what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to know what it is.
I do.
I just want it out.
But I think it's just I always had to figure shit out on my own, and so I just like to do that. I like figure it out on my own. I'll talk to you later when I've figured out it on my own. So like I'll have this whole big thing happen, like a whole fucking event, and I will not tell Paul about it until maybe like at least half a week later, maybe a week
hear
later.
about it first.
And then it's like, okay, like I've digested it, I've processed it. Now I can talk about it. Until then, I cannot.
I'm the like, bleh, because I think it's I don't know.
I think I'm too restrained for that.
Again, I would never do it with any random person because I've met people who are that way where it's like they will where it's the overshare where you're like we're not friends. Like, I don't know you really. Like I don't care. You know that, right? Like
They probably
I
don't.
don't expect you to care about me at this level. This transaction is not equal.
The body budget.
Body budget. I'm gonna slowly start walking away at some point, and you are gonna notice, and you're gonna write it off as she's probably tired, and I am. So, some other stuff. So
Birds?
birds, segue birds.
Okay.
When they found like when
I don't think
birds
that was a segue.
bird songs, there was none. Bird songs, they have been able to see how that uh, a bird's song literally controls the organs of the bird's body.
Hmm.
So the neurons that control bird songs are the same ones that control their main body function.
Mm.
So that's their main communication, in case you didn't know that. Tweet, tweet. Twitter. Ha. Full circle.
Full circle.
So, really, then, words, the point of this is that they are tools for regulating human bodies. And we don't talk about that. How about it? So, whether you intend to or not, or do something, say something the way you meant, it's really irrelevant. It's how it is received by the other person.
Hmm.
And you only know that by being around the other person enough to gauge reaction and adjust over time. That's how trust is built. And if someone is too trusting up front, they're not going to pick up the nuances. And so that's where like that situation I just said, where you feel really comfortable, but I'm not, like not reading the room kind of feeling. So, all right, reading the room. Chronic stress can harm your brain. We know that. Verbal aggression continually for months, or if you live in an environment that relentlessly is just like taxing emotionally, words can further that physical injury in your brain. So, not because you're weak, not because like you should be able to handle it, but your nervous system really is not made to handle that much stress. And so it has tied uh, trauma responses and fear, fight, flight, or freeze responses, all those things to words.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of, so I do exposure response prevention for OCD, but most of my work is on PURO, so thought-based intrusive OCD. And a lot of those things have to do with trigger words or sentences that
Hmm.
that get stuck there. And
Yeah, propaganda that
yeah.
you grow up with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, so there we go. Now I just want to go on to say we're going to share something fun. Let's talk about some phrases that make you instantly unlikable,
Mm.
according to psychologists. Some psychologists, some listed here. Okay, so number one is by saying, "That's common sense."
Mm.
Do you like that? Like, that's common sense.
Do I like it?
Yeah, like, does it make me unlikable when I say that's common sense?
No, I did not have any kind of reaction in my body when he said that.
Have you ever heard anybody say that in real life?
Yeah,
Yeah,
commonly
it's insulting.
people say that. It doesn't really bother me.
So Dr. Noble said that can be viewed as insulting, suggesting the other person lacks knowledge or ability.
Mm.
Mm.
I usually would agree. Somebody says that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
Instead, so they have suggestions. So instead, saying something like, "Let's go over this together," or "Can I clarify anything for you?" I honestly don't like "Can I clarify?" because to me, I slow down even mentally, and I'm watching you, and I'm like, "You think I'm an effing idiot?" Okay, great. Clarify for me. No, you can't clarify. I understood, and I disagree with you. There's a difference.
I don't think anyone said that to me before.
The second one, we learned in de-escalation training, don't say calm down.
Right. Has the opposite effect.
Calm down. Backfires. Dr. Joel Frank said that this phrase is troubling. It appears to have the opposite effect, invalidating people's emotions.
Yes. I think that's pretty much common sense.
Really, it is common sense. And their alternative is saying something like, I understand this is upsetting. Let's figure out how to handle it.
And I would say, don't even say I understand.
No, I understand because
I would just say,
don't. You don't.
you're upset.
You're upset. You're angry.
You're upset because I have not made eye contact with you and you've been standing in line to get your coffee for 10
Right.
minutes.
Right.
That makes me upset.
You're upset because I didn't.
I feel like I'm
spell your
invisible
name
and I
right.
don't like it. That makes me upset.
Mhm.
That's true.
It's true.
I like it when they're busy and they look at me and say, I'll be right with you. That's
Mhm.
all it
Mhm.
takes.
Right. I just think I want a real human interaction too. I feel dismissed when they give you that fake conversation where they're like, "Oh, what are you doing today?" Like,
I don't,
don't.
it's not their business. I hate that.
It's I don't think they care. Shocker. I don't think they really care about my day. So I don't want like now I feel forced again like to give them something back and I don't want to because I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about your day. We're not friends. I want my
Well, I just, yeah,
not friends.
I
And
want
they
to
don't
choose who I share that with.
it's all disingenuous. Like it's
Sometimes I want to be a dick
and then I have to feel bad.
and say, I'm on my way to a funeral.
I swear I've made things up just on a fly, but not I'm not funny enough or quick enough to come up with anything good, but I'll be like, "Oh, just going to work." And I'm like I was going home, but I feel
But
weird
then
saying that.
I don't be a dick because then I'm like, this is probably just their perkiness training.
I bet you they probably get scored on that. Like
Yeah,
4 out of 7.
it's perkiness training.
Mhm.
I think people at Trader Joe's are hired because they're talkative.
Hmm.
Because they're all
Hate
super,
that.
super talkative. So I think it's like a requirement to work there. So I try to give grace.
I try not to make eye contact with people that I don't want to talk to as hint number one.
Do you
Hint
ever go
number
to Trader
two,
Joe's? That will not fly.
on occasion.
No.
I've never been bothered. I've only gone a couple times, but I've never had anybody come up to me.
No,
I've
they
been-
don't come up to you. It's when you're checking out that you have to get into a deep conversation. Sometimes I enjoy the conversation,
I think
but sometimes I'm not in the mood.
I think I give off a vibe of like they don't want to engage with me, and I'm okay with it.
I go there a lot though, and now I feel like they are
Aw.
becoming my friends.
I had to stop going. Oh, side story. Sorry, this is important. I have been officially kicked out and what's it like banned from the Valley Village by my house.
Why?
Because apparently, unbeknownst to me, apparently at some like I got confronted in the store in front of my husband, in front of all these people. Again, like I have a business. I like it's my community. A lot of people around me, and they go on to tell me about how I had been. What's that word when you like you get kicked out? Like you get
Kicked out?
yeah, but like
Trespassed?
trespass. That I had upon my last visit, I had been trespassed after a altercation with their supervisor.
Oh, did you have an altercation?
No, no, I had a very pleasant visit.
Probably your doppelganger.
I had a very pleasant visit and it went fine. And they helped me put stuff in my cart and that was it. And I went home. I'm not a conflict person, first of all. But they had this like really young guy who's like the manager covering. It's on a Sunday. So, whoever the Sunday manager is.
Sunday
But-
managers.
Based on, here's what, like, apparently the one of the younger ladies who worked there from across the store recognized me as a third party. She apparently was there during this altercation. She recognized me. And so that's what they were going off of. And I said, can you tell me about the scenario that I was supposedly involved in? Oh, no. Well, the supervisor that was involved isn't here today. Okay, do you have a name?
Is your picture up at the cash register?
No, they couldn't even tell me the name of
No,
the
it's
person.
your picture. So it's like, do you not
No.
let this
I
person in?
mean, now probably. Definitely after this last time. So that happened, and I was so offended. And I was like, what are you talking? Like, how can you kick me out? You don't even know who I am.